Hey, we're live on Brunch with Brian. Welcome to Brunch with Brian this morning. We're going to have a great day on Brunch with Brian, and we're going to learn a lot, and we're going to get motivated, right? That's what we always learn on Brunch with Brian. So, what's today? Today is a day that I want you to think about how quickly things can change in your life, especially in real estate. Okay, things can change very, very quickly in real estate. Sorry, I'm having a little computer issue here. There we go. Okay, so guys, I want you to focus up and this weekend change your life. How do you change your life this weekend? You get a deal. Okay, how do you get a deal? You make some phone calls. Okay, that's the key. You got to make phone calls this weekend to get a deal. You could get a deal this weekend that you had no idea about before this weekend, and it could change the entire trajectory of your career. Okay, that's the great thing about real estate is that things turn very quickly. Things can turn on a dime. If you've never done a deal before and you've tried to do it for a year, all of a sudden you meet the right realtor or you talk to the right seller, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of some deal that's going to make you a non-refundable option deposit of $15,000 or $20,000 within about 2 weeks. Okay, so that's how quickly things can change in the world of real estate. You can be going, you can never have done a deal. You can have tried your whole life, for 20 years to do a real estate deal and never been able to do it. And then one phone call can change everything. So, and remember, the great thing, it is a sort of a home run game, isn't it? It's a swing for the fences type of a business, real estate investing, because you either hit a home run or you strike out. Do you get the deal or not? And sometimes you'll get close and you won't quite get it. Okay, so that's, whether you're close or whether you're far, you didn't get the deal. So you didn't get on base. You didn't score a run. But you get a deal and it's like hitting a home run. It's like hitting a grand slam. One deal, every deal in real estate. No, I can't say that, because you will have, if you're working the wholesale market, you'll have smaller deals. You'll have, a $5 or $10 or $20,000 wholesale. But, your life really changes when you start doing cash flow deals and you pile up 10 houses. The whole question in your life is, will you ever own 10 rental properties or rent to own properties? What's your answer to that? Will you own in your lifetime 10 or more rental or rent to own properties? I want that answer to be yes. And your whole life is going to be different if that answer is yes. So we got to figure out how to get you 10 houses. Okay, so how do we get you 10 houses? We get you one house. You start, you get one house. So you need to get your first house. And so how are you going to do it? Drive for dollars this weekend. Go out looking for ugly vacant houses. Track down the sellers. Call them up. Ask them if they'll take monthly payments. Remember, the way to get nothing down deals and basically buy houses for closing costs is to find properties that you have motivated sellers and just ask them, will you take monthly pay? Follow our scripts. I'm going to simplify it here. Follow the scripts as carefully as possible, but essentially what you're doing is you're calling sellers, for sale by owners, or you're calling landlords who already said they want to take monthly payments. Landlords have already agreed to take monthly payments. They just haven't agreed yet to give you an option to purchase the property. Okay, so our landlord, if you're not calling landlords on a regular basis, you're missing out on a lot of possibilities. Houses for rent. Go under houses for rent in your newspaper. Buy a Sunday paper. Buy a Sunday paper this Sunday. Sometimes you can even get them on Saturday. And go through it and look under houses for rent. And that's where all the landlords are. There's not a section in your Sunday paper that says landlords. They're all under houses for rent. So call those houses for rent and use the landlord opening call script. It's in your what to say and what to do forms folder. So download about 10 landlord scripts, about 20 FSBO scripts. And remember, FSBOs, you'll run out of FSBOs in your own area. If you are prosecuting the case, if you're doing what you should be doing, you will probably run out of FSBOs in your own area within, not too long. So that's when you start to expand your thinking and you start to look at other markets. We have cash flowing portfolios in a lot of different markets. Just because we knew people there who wanted to work with us, one thing led to another. And so now we own properties. And so that's what you should do too, especially if you live in a city where cash flowing properties are not so easy to find. If you find a city where the average property value is 80,000 to 150, or not that the average value is that, but that you can find houses in that price range that nice families would want to live in. Now that's hard to find in Phoenix anymore, but when I started, I could find it. Okay, I bought one of my best deals I ever bought that we still own. Over 20 years later, I paid 161.5. I remember very distinctly, and I almost lost the deal because the guy wanted 162.9, and I almost lost the deal over $1,500. Now we own that house free and clear. It's worth about $500,000. That's just one example of how your life can change with one deal. Okay, so let's get one deal under our belt. Let's, as fast as possible, let's get our next deal. If you've done deals, let's get our next deal. Let's get our first deal. So call around this weekend, drive around this weekend. If you see a vacant house, do a reverse lookup on the white pages, try to find the seller, pay for a skip trace if you have to, get that person. So you shouldn't pay more than about a dime. We pay a dime on our software system. If you find some great deals, I have talked about this before, that I am open to looking at your deals. Okay, I'm saying that to just my loyal brunchers who are on here with me. Guys, if you find deals, I want to help you. And if you find something that you think is hot and you can't get it done, send me an email. I'm good with wolfcouple@gmail.com, but you've got to put Brian in all caps in the subject line. Now, I've told you this before and I haven't gotten a big response. So I am extending the offer. Let me be clear that if you find a deal that you think is really hot and you talk to the seller, you got to have talked to the seller. Don't send me something you haven't talked to the seller. But if you've talked to the seller, they've indicated yes, they are open to monthly payments and everything looks good, but somehow you're not getting it closed or you can't get over the hump, I will look at deals for you. I'm not making this as an extended promise. This isn't a forever deal, but for the time being, till I see how it goes, if you guys want to send in deals that I can look at that you need help on, I will look at stuff. And maybe it'll get you into the Wolf's Deal Club. Okay. So again, I want you guys being active and getting stuff going. Noel, Kathy, hey you guys, good morning. Good morning, WL. And WL is always so nice. He always says hi to everyone. Yes, okay. And Lacey, good morning. Everybody's here today. Charles, hey, great to see you, Charles. And I love the idea of calling landlords. Yes, I'm telling you, that's one that nobody's doing that. It's crazy that I teach that as much as I do, and I don't know anybody any of our students who's actually really actively pursuing that. There's a lot more rental properties than there are FSBOs in a lot of markets. You got to look around and kind of test your market. But remember, you can go on Zillow. Maybe I'll do a session on this, but you can go on Zillow. When you pull and type in your city, listen to my instructions here carefully. Go on Zillow today, type in your city, not an address, just your city. Go to the next page and enter. And then at the top, there will be a thing that will say sold, for sale, or for rent. Click on the for rent. And then you'll get a whole bunch of you should have a map on the left side. And you're going to get a whole bunch of little purple dots. A purple dot in Zillow means a rental property. So I want you to call Purples. Okay, so write that down. Call Purples off Zillow and use the landlord opening call script. And you have not even been trying that before possibly, and that could be a deal changer. What if you meet a landlord who's like 75 years old, doesn't really want to do the business anymore, kind of looking to divest, but now they have an open rental, they got to get somebody in there. When you start to talk to these people, especially the landlords, if you get a real live landlord on the phone, build that rapport, because they might have, a dozen properties they're looking to divest from, and maybe you walked into an automatic portfolio. Okay, and especially if they like you, some of these older investors, man, they've done this their whole life. They don't have an heir apparent. They don't have any of their kids are interested. If you step in at the right time and show real interest and want to work with them and help them with their portfolio, I mean, you could be walking into a fortune. Okay, so start calling landlords, please. And, one landlord could end up being 10 deals or 20 deals. You never know. Now, when you're calling landlords, who are you going to also get on the phone? Property managers. There's a lot of landlords who pay property managers to manage their property. So in that case, use the property manager opening call script. Okay, so you should have all those scripts in your forms folder in your what to say and what to do system. So let's get some action going this weekend. Guys, remember, this is seriously a business that can change overnight. You can change your life overnight with real estate. And if you've been trying it a little while and you haven't gotten that first deal and you haven't got that game-changing deal yet, don't give up. Keep the faith. Keep the faith because it's going to happen. Just keep making phone calls, and eventually it's a numbers game. You're getting better every phone call you make, even if you don't realize it. You're getting a little more comfortable with the scripts, just the process. You're getting more comfortable with picking up a phone and calling a seller. You're improving. You just got to keep trying until the numbers pay off. You talk to 20 sellers or 20 landlords, that you tell me that. You tell me on Monday, hey, I talked to Brian. You tell me on the chat on Brunch with Brian, I talked to 20 landlords over the weekend. If you say that, I'm telling you, you're going to be in the line for some good deals. If you talk to 20 landlords or 20 FSBOs over this weekend, and remember, that's our KPI. Our baseline KPI is 20 phone calls per week. So let's kick butt this weekend. Let's get out there and take action. Your whole life can change on one deal, on one phone call. And that's how it happened for us, guys. So let's take action this weekend and really make it happen. Okay. So yes, calling landlords. Hey, good morning, Isabel. You're here too. That's great. All right, guys. So what's our I'm going to change my life. I'm changing my life. Okay. I'm changing my life. That's our affirmation for today. Because one deal is game changing and life changing. And you're going to get that deal this weekend. Is that exciting? Absolutely. The more phone calls you make this weekend, the more chances you get to get that first deal. All right. Or next deal. All right. So I'm changing my life. Okay, ready? I'm changing my life. 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm changing my life. I'm changing my life. I'm changing my life. Yes, you're changing your life with real estate. All right, awesome. Because one deal can be a $20,000 non-refundable option deposit in 2 weeks. Would a check for $20,000 in the next 2 weeks change your life? It certainly would. So that would be awesome. All right, let's do a deep breathing. Nice deep breath in. Always a big smile. Let it go. Relax. Another one. Real deep with a big smile. Let it go. That really, this is such an invigorating exercise. One more. Oxygen is good. It invigorates your blood cells, your red blood cells, oxygenate your body. All right. Now I'm invigorated and ready to go out and attack the world. Maybe you could go make some phone calls right now if you got some time. Go call some FSBOs. Do you have printed FSBO call scripts right now? Do you have printed landlord opening call scripts right now? These are just one piece of paper. Same thing with all your scripts, like your off-market seller and other ones. Have those printed and ready to go so that anytime you feel the urge, you get the motivation. Hey, I got a half an hour. You know what? I think I'll go call a couple of landlords or FSBOs. Why not? And don't build it up. Don't make it like some big dum da da dum. I got to pick up the phone. This is so exciting, and also dramatic. Don't make it so dramatic. You're just calling sellers. Don't make it such a big deal. And then that will convey your kind of a calm approach and get you those deals. So, boy, that was a good one today. They're always good. I always love Brunch with Brands. Oh my goodness. Did we get a bunch more comments? Thanks, Ryan. Yes, guys, I love helping you any way I can. Nick, good job saying good morning. I love it. I don't normally see you here. That's a nice picture. Look how professional Nick looks, you guys. That's a nice picture. And then you look at Caleb. Caleb, that's not professional. I like that picture of you, but okay. Milan, welcome. Oh, couple pickleball champions. Okay. You know what, Milan, reach out to me, would you? Send me an email at wolfcouple@gmail.com. Wolfcouple@gmail.com, and put big in caps Brian in the subject line. Guys, I can reach out to you and talk to you about this. And yes, I want to help you with the software. We have this specific software that can help you find deals. So if you have questions about that, like Milan, and you do not have a software program to run your business and you're serious or getting serious about that, talk to me. I can get you the best deal on a branded version of RealFlow. Okay. I like RealFlow the best, just out of all the ones I've used. And we've used a lot of different ones, but that's one I really like. So Prop Stream, we tried different ones. Oh, great teaching Tuesday. Thank you. I like to hear that because, this last teaching Tuesday was great, guys. And remember, you can always, if you missed it and you really want to see it, send me an email and ask me for a replay. Okay. And I can send you the link to the replay on that. Okay. So thank you for your generosity. Yes. Tired landlord closing next week. Wow, look at that. Isabel is getting a deal with a tired landlord, exactly what we're talking about. I'm proud of you, Isabel. That is so awesome. Guys, look at that. So Isabel's our good role model for today. Fisbo, 80 years old, had a Fisbo sign in his yard for over a month and wants all cash, no payments. Yeah, that's too bad. If someone's 80, a lot of times they might just want to cash out. The only way you can really sell that deal is ask them what their heirs do. What's your plan for the house? And let me tell you, you got to build some serious rapport before you go there. Okay. Because you're talking about them dying. So you're going to say, well, what are you going to do? You're 80 now, obviously you don't have to tell them that, but, what's your plan? What's your estate plan? That's a good way. Write that down, guys. If you're talking to an older person and they say, well, I'm not sure this would work for me, or I just want all cash, just say, well, I actually have talked to my attorney a lot about estate planning. I have an estate planning attorney. Do you have an estate planning attorney? Have you got everything worked out? Do you have kids? Are your kids going to inherit this cash? So if someone comes along and pays you $200,000 cash, are you going to give it all to your kids then? Is that the plan? And they might realize if you talk this out that, gee, what am I going to do with this money? I thought, this people just sold and got cash and that's kind of how it worked. And then I have my cash. But maybe it would be a better idea if I have one heir and I'm a little worried they're just going to burn through the cash. They're going to get that 200,000 and I'm not going to be around for more than maybe 10 more years. And they're just going to spend all that money and then it's going to all be gone. But wait a minute, what if I gave them a rental property that was a cash flowing at $1,200 a month that was free and clear? That's better for them than giving them 200,000 in cash. That's a much better plan for your heirs. So this is going a little deep here. This is a next level negotiation, and you got to have some serious rapport. But that's getting down to it. If you got a really old seller who says, I just want cash, your only real chance is to dig down deep, delve into the situation, find out where that cash is going to go when they pass on, or maybe they need it all right now for some reason. And then if you find that out, then you realize they don't have any flexibility. But, a lot of times when people own their house free and clear and they're older like that, they do have the flexibility. They don't have the imagination. Okay. You got to instill the vision. You got to show them the vision of what it would be like to pass down a nice ongoing asset, cash producing asset versus a bunch of money that your heirs are just going to burn through. So again, that is a pretty next level stuff, but that's your only shot on an older house like that with somebody that's old. Okay. Price range, you mentioned a nationwide average, median price range. Basically, guys, when I talk about that price range of 80 to 150, the reason that price range works so well is because of the 1% rule. Okay, so here's the 1% rule. Write this down if you've never written this down. 1% rule is rents equals 1% of value. Okay, do the rents in that area when you're looking for a farm area. Do the rents equal 1% of the values? And once you get over about 200,000, they start to skew off. If you have a $300,000 house, it's pretty rare to be able to get $3,000 a month rent. Now, sometimes you can, so that would be a good investment property. But usually the more expensive they get, the more that 1% rule skews off. And it takes more money and more resources to buy more expensive houses sometimes. Now, saying all that, having said all that, is I even teach people to go and do a search between 500,000 and 2 million and specifically target those properties, because some of those properties have low monthly payments and the people are desperate and the house is sitting there vacant and they're just looking to get out from under a debt. And so you can take over a low payment and put in somebody with a much higher who will pay you a lot higher rent. So we have rentals. We have a $950,000 property that's a rental that's actually free and clear. Now that's probably not the best use of our cash. Probably a better use of our cash would be to put a mortgage on that house if we want to keep it, or sell it and take and buy 10 more properties, 10 $100,000 properties, because that's probably going to cash flow better in the overall picture. Now, if you don't have properties in your city that will sell for 80,000 to 150 that, that aren't war zone properties, then that's when, you might want to start thinking, and I think everybody should start thinking about expanding their portfolio to other cities. Okay. But if you can find properties in your city that you can drive to that sell for 80,000 to 150,000 that families would want to live in that aren't war zones, you are in the ideal cash flow city. That's a huge plus. And remember, sometimes it's just one area of the city. So the whole city, nowhere near that, but just one area of the city. Yeah, we can, in downtown Phoenix, we can find houses for 200 still, for instance. Okay. All right, Isabel has a big, okay, this is to Lacey. So guys, she's giving Lacey a tip here on dealing with this older seller. Isabel, that's some sharp stuff in there, guys. So, just give her, Lacey, you should connect with Isabel here if Isabel has some good ideas for you. Okay, great dialogue with 80-year-old. Yes. So guys, remember, you sometimes you got to go to that next level negotiation. Yeah. And okay, that's the other option. Now, when people will only take cash, remember there's 7 real estate deals and one of them is called an option deal. Now, normally we love to do creative financing where the seller takes monthly payments, but if the seller won't take monthly payments and we still want to make money on that deal, we will buy the property with a purchase and sale agreement, write up a cash deal with a 90-day close and write it up as a cash purchase. And then we will market the property. So if this guy who's 80 only has a sign in his yard and that's all he has, he didn't even put the house on Zillow, you could get an option agreement, but here's where you got to get a good price, because you got to be able to make a margin. So if you say, okay, sell me the house for 180, and then you turn around and you put it on Zillow for 199.9, okay, well, you might make yourself, 15 grand, when all is said and done. But you're basically, now this is, be careful because you're very close to acting like an agent here. And agents will attack you and say, what are you doing? You are selling that house for cash and taking a commission. And you'll say, no, because I have a equitable interest in the house. This piece of paper here that is a purchase and sale agreement gives me equitable interest in the house. And the fact that I gave them $100, I gave them consideration. That's called consideration. That means that I have equitable interest in the property and I'm a principal in the transaction. I'm not an agent representing somebody else. This is important to understand. I'm a principal in the transaction. I am not some agent representing a seller. I own a piece of this house. I'm doing this for myself. Okay, so that's the difference, and that's how you got to explain it. So yes, another fallback position. Yes, I like to have long-term rentals and rent-to-own properties. A fallback position is make a quick option fee. Okay, so maybe it's just 10 or 20 or 15 grand or whatever. If the house sells fast, it might be easy and they might really appreciate it. An older seller like that, it might be a good thing for them. But you got to have a little spread. You can't pay full price for this house because you're paying cash, and you got to have a little spread because that spread is what your payday is going to be. So don't forget, those option sellers are in your what to say and what to do system. They're actually the sixth seller in the system. It's called an option seller. So review that section if you have a possible option deal, which is basically just a seller who won't take cash, but will give you a little equity. Okay. All right, Nick. Hey, Nick. Awesome. Nick is always giving good emojis. I love those good emojis. Okay. On fire. Nick is going crazy with the emojis today. Okay, Jeff. Yes. Yeah, that's the Seattle market. If you guys are working some markets are 500,000 to 2 million. Even the cheapest house is 500,000. So listen, Seattle is good, Tacoma, SeaTac, that whole area, but you have to get a little bit further from the city to get lower prices, and that's hard. I'm telling you, there's certain areas where it's really hard. Even Portland is like this now, and there's a lot of areas where the houses are just real expensive. So what are you doing there? There you're calling people in this price range and you're saying, and especially if you can find vacant homes in this price range, that's some real motivated sellers. So when you find that price range, you're going to ask them, what's your monthly payment on that property? And before you call on a more expensive house, know what you can get for it for rent. Okay, check the rentals estimate, or check Rentometer, or check, go on Craigslist and look at houses for rent in that area and what people are asking. Okay, that's another strategy for figuring out rentals. Go on Zillow and look at all the houses, all the purple dots in that area. What are they asking? That's a great way to do it, guys, because sometimes you go on Rentometer or a rentals estimate. That's good to know, but you don't know what exactly is going to be in the newspaper next week against yours. And so if you look at Zillow and look at the purple dots, you'll know exactly what's next to you in the paper and what people are asking and what people are seeing on Zillow. Okay, so that price range, when you call people in that more expensive price range, you're asking them, what's your monthly payment? Okay, now the way it usually works is we'll cover that monthly payment until the mortgage is paid off. You understand that, right? Okay, so write that down. That's the line. So you look up this person who owns this expensive house. You say, what's your monthly payment? Okay, the way it works is we'll cover that monthly payment until the mortgage is paid off. You understand that, right? And if they say, yeah, I understand. Okay, I get it. Okay, and if they say yes to that, basically you've got that property purchased for, for whatever the monthly payment is. And so if I can get $3,900 for this place and their payment on it is $2,800, I've got a huge spread on this property. Okay, so again, don't run away from those more expensive properties, but realize they are not going to match that 1% rule. If you live in Seattle and you want to have rental properties in Seattle, that's why it's harder. Guys, those more expensive markets are harder. It's harder to come up with down payments. It's a trickier market, but not to say, like I told you, we have one property that's $950,000 free and clear rental that we've had for a long, long time. So again, you can have more expensive rentals if you buy them right and do it right. But yes, I do want everybody who lives in a really expensive city like Seattle, do you need to have another Yakima? Yakima, go to Yakima. Even Yakima is getting expensive, but that's more of your price range. And yes, that's a little ways away. It's across the mountains, but yeah, that's another possible city for you. Now, it doesn't even have to be in your state, though. I mean, it can be in it could be Columbus, Ohio, or some city like that, Cleveland, or a city like that you can be working at a distance. All you need is boots on the ground, and realtors are really good for that. We have a realtor in Evansville who does all of our properties. So develop a realtor in another state. Okay. You know what? Maybe that would be a good thing to do, is to do a Teaching Tuesday. Isabel's suggesting I do a Teaching Tuesday just focused on more expensive properties and the different strategies. Okay. Thank you, Nick. Guys, we do this anytime you have questions. I'll stay until I get through all the questions, but I know it gets long. If I have a lot of questions. Normally we like to keep it to maybe 10, 15 minutes with lots of good motivation. But when you guys have questions, I like to address your questions. Yes. Oh, it's your neighbor. Don't know him that well. It's worth 400 and he's asking 330. Okay, now that could be an option deal. He's given a big spread there. Lacey, you could pay him cash potentially, get the property under contract with a purchase and sale agreement, give yourself 90 days to close, and then you are going to basically assign that contract to, you're going to sell to another investor or someone who wants to live there for something more than what you paid, especially if that house is in good shape. I mean, he's giving you a lot of free equity there. That's a pretty exciting deal, Isabel. Even if you have to do a straight option, I think you could really do something with that and maybe make that could be a $50,000 check. I mean, that could be an incredibly good option deal. Listen, send me an email on that if you need help, okay? But review the option seller section in the what to do system. And yeah, if you need help on that, send me an email, and I don't want you to lose that one. That could be a really good one. Yes. Well, if somebody else, guys, would you put an option on a tear down property, something that's really, really beat up badly? I would. That's a wholesale property. Guys, an option is a heck of a lot like a wholesale property. And so if it's all distressed like that, I'm going to get it under contract. Same thing, purchase and sale agreement, give myself 90 days to close. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to advertise for a flipper to come and pay and buy it from me. I'm going to assign the contract to the flipper, and they're going to give me an assignment fee. So an option is sort of like a wholesale on an expensive, nice house. And that's kind of how it works. Okay. So it's sort of even the same paperwork. So a wholesale flip is very similar to an option, but an option that's on a nice house. Okay. Let's see. Last deal, got under contract with an option. Okay, had a cash buyer who wanted it. Okay, there. Now that's example. So Isabel is actually giving us an example. Isabel, you're cooking. She did an option deal there where if you read what she's talking about here, she got it under contract, right? And with an option to buy. So she turned around and sold it for a $15,000 profit. Easy. Okay, so that's how an option deal works. You get it under contract, and then you're not going to do the work, you're not going to live in it, but you're going to sell to your end buyer, and then you're going to get an option fee. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh, Isabel, I can't read that. Okay. I second Isabel's suggestion. Yes, Jeff. Guys, you got to read these. I mean, these are getting pretty long. Isabel has a lot of good tips today. Isabel, you have so many good tips. Landlord seller didn't want to deal with finding a buyer, showing his rental, cleaning up from tenants. Yes. Okay. And that's right, guys. Landlords don't want it. What's the worst time in their life? When they got a new vacant property that's all beat up that they just got back from a tenant. Okay. So she found cash buyer. Government can't tell people they're allowed to sell their house. Oh my gosh. Okay. Guys, I'm going to pull up these so you can see them, and you can all see them in the chat. But Isabel is saying some good things. She's explaining this whole deal, okay? And so she's explaining how she bought this property from a landlord. And so again, let's print a bunch of landlord opening call scripts. They're just one page, and make a bunch of calls. Investor landlords, yeah, see, that's the thing. Investor landlords understand this stuff. They understand a lot of what we already do, so you don't have to explain. They're not like a lay person who doesn't understand seller financing, and if you say the word subject to, they'll freak out. This is something that they already know. Okay, this is great. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Isabel, for all these great tips. So guys, go back, and if you're looking to work the landlord market, Isabel is explaining here a landlord deal she did, so that's fantastic. Also, don't forget that you can do option deals. So option deals, landlords, a lot of stuff today. And Isabel, thank you, dear. That's a lot of typing. You're gonna get carpal tunnel syndrome this morning. But guys, go back and look at what Isabel's talking about here with all these great notes about working with landlords, because landlords can be very, very good to work with, and they can understand a lot of what we're doing. So, cash buyer pays everything. Yes. So awesome today, guys. Let's wrap it up. We had a lot of tips, a lot of good deep reading, everything today. So have a great weekend. Get out there and cook and make some calls, talk to landlords. Let me know on Monday how great you did. I love hearing your updates and everything. So until I see you on Monday, what you're going to do? You're going to keep expecting success, have that right mindset. You're going to keep learning from the Wolf Couple, using our scripts and using them in the field to close deals, and you're going to keep taking action. Okay. All right. Awesome. So I will see you guys soon. Way to go, Isabel. A lot of great tips. A lot of great tips on real estate today. So great job, guys. Great job, everybody. So I'll see you tomorrow. Until I see you on Monday, keep expecting success, getting awesome training, and taking action.